Welcome back to another episode of Rawstocks. This is Rustic. Today we're going to be taking a look at Tesla's chart. We're going to be looking at where price came from, where price ended today, and where price is likely to head into the rest of the week. Happy Halloween, everybody. Sorry for the late video. Just got back from trick-or-treating with my kids. We had a really good time. A lot of kids out. Huge candy haul. But that's the reason for getting the video out late today. We had some nice movement in the market. For those of you who watched yesterday, we did say we were looking for a move of manipulation to the downside or to the upside. Today we got it to the downside. I'll show you when we drop into the lower time frame charts exactly what that looked like. But we did get that move of manipulation to the downside, and then we started to turn up and trade up higher. Where are we heading tomorrow? We got FOMC. We got potentially a big market mover, and we're heading in the upward direction. So do we rally up into FOMC, sell off? We have seen that previously. That's kind of what kicked off some of the selling back here. I think it was back up here in September where we were drawing on liquidity. We had an FOMC meeting, and then we just dumped during that session. So if we're looking at the daily chart, again, we have that up close candle today, little bullish reversal. We take a look at the RSI. We can see we have come in from oversold territory, and we are starting to push back up. So maybe that'll rally us up higher. We'll have to see. We have traded down into that daily fair value gap where we've started to draw on liquidity. Haven't quite got down to the consequent encroachment, which is that 50% of the daily fair value gap. So we are watching for that. Not surprised that we haven't hit it yet, but that means we could maybe see a small rally, come back down and hit the consequent encroachment, then maybe rally up higher. But basically, right now, we've been drawing on the liquidity that's inside that fair value gap, which is sub 200, all the way down to 186. 186 and some change. But we know there's liquidity that rests in that fair value gap, so we're coming down, we're drawing on it. We can rebound off of it. We can come back in and draw on it more. We can continue to rebound off of it. But we know there's orders down in that fair value gap, and so it holds liquidity, and that's what we're really watching for. Let's throw on our moving averages just to see what's going on. We have said before we're trading below the 200 period. Moving average on the daily chart, we are below the 20 period, below the 50 period. So right now, below all major moving averages. A rally up could see us just test this 200, see if it acts as a resistance. Trade back down, that'd be totally likely. Not necessarily expecting with the current conditions of the market that we're going to see a rally up here into the 220s, 230s. But it's possible. As we start to get these moving averages come down, we could see a quick rally and test of the 200 period, rejection back to see if these lows want to hold or this liquidity wants to get drawn on again. Why we see this 20 period start to come down more rapidly, right? And then that 20 period could move us back up to run a test maybe on the 50 period up higher. We also have the golden zone down below, which is 177, down to 160 or maybe even a little bit lower. And so those are our fib levels. If we were to go deeper through this daily fair value gap, we'd be pulling into this fib golden zone or the optimal trade entry area. So if we look at the 4-hour chart, right, you can also see we're below all major moving averages. We have a nearly flat 200 period. Also, our 200 period happens to coincide with our daily point of control volume node, which is up here in the 253 area. And so, again, likely that when we do see a major rebound, that's where we're coming up to. Not necessarily going to see anything that runs up into the 300s yet. I don't think the market is ready for that. The conditions aren't right. But I do think that at some point in time, we're going to carve out a low. We're going to come back and test that volume point of control. We spent a lot of time at it previously. It would still be below a low here. And so it would be maybe just a corrective move back up to 250 and then a bigger sell-off from there. But we're not near there. We're right around 200, right around 200, 201. And so we won't be too concerned with that 253 until we start getting moving in that direction. Now we are just, again, starting to rally up. We got that 20 period coming down in VWAP. We got the 50 above in the 230 range. So we'll be watching on some of the higher time frame charts like the 4-hour to see if we can get price to get above the 20 period. That's going to be our first target as far as that indicator goes. Again, you can see, we have a low, we have a lower low. So do we come up? Do we set a higher low that's going to kind of give us a smart money reversal kind of indicator that's going to give us some kind of rally? We'll be watching that, but also watching to see if FOMC comes out. Maybe we rally up and then sell off on FOMC. We're really looking for, are we going to get the announcement that there's a rate hike pause? I think the consensus is there's going to be a pause, but we're also looking for guidance to see if there's going to be any future rate hikes. So we'll be all sitting on the edge of our seat as we wait for Jerome Powell to come out and give us the juice. Let's drop down into the 1-hour chart here. Give us a little bit better idea of what was going on today. Okay, and so this is the move that we were talking about. Here's Monday's final hour candle. Here is Tuesday's, and we'll get a much better look at this on the lower time frame chart. But what we were talking about in yesterday's video was, do we see... Let's get our right tool out here. We're going to do our path tool. What we were saying on this candle, right, as we filmed yesterday's video, are we going to see a move of manipulation, which is going to run the stops on this? And I said this was the more likely scenario. We come down, and I thought we'd maybe get to consequent encroachment. We didn't quite get there, but we did run the stops. Are we going to come down, or are we going to rally up, right? Our manipulation, our distribution, right? So that's what it's looking like so far. Now, this could just be, run the stops, move of manipulation, and then we're going to get further distribution to the downside. But the RSI is saying we're so oversold, that's not a likely scenario. So what that would look like is we got our run on stops, right? We draw into liquidity. That's our manipulation, and then we get a distribution to the downside. So with FOMC looming, it's entirely possible that our manipulation was just a bull case manipulation or a bull trap where we started to run, right? That's the manipulation, and then we get distribution to the downside. I don't think that's going to happen just because of the way RSI is set up, and we're just so oversold and so beat down. I do think we're going to rally up, maybe see a drop on FOMC potentially, but I don't necessarily think it's going to take us down to new lows for the week. I think it's just we're going to see a nice rally, then a big drop on FOMC. Then we might get continued further distribution to the upside into Thursday, maybe even into Friday. But we'll have to see. That's just one potential scenario. What that would look like, right? Again, we get the drop, we get the pop. Maybe our pop takes us up here into these fair value gaps, or maybe even running on liquidity, right, around the 210 area, maybe. I mean, that could be hopeful thinking. But if we do start to run up there, FOMC, bam, drop it, and then we maybe get further distribution to the upside. That's definitely a potential, right? We would be getting above these moving averages. We know there's a wick gap in here. There's a daily gap. There's a fair value gap. And there's also confluence in moving averages that are all up around this area. We could also just test the previous week high and then drop from there. So lots of different scenarios we're looking at, but I am looking for to see if we run up into FOMC or if we drop into FOMC, and then determining whether or not the news from Jerome Powell is going to end up causing a reaction in the opposite direction. So if we look at the 15-minute chart, again, a much better picture of today's price action. Okay, I have our 15-minute opening range. I announced this in the Discord. If you don't follow me, join the Discord, Traders Helping Traders. I'm in there during market hours. I'm doing live call-outs. I'm posting my strike prices. I'm posting my entries. I try to post all my exits. I don't always get the exits in there just because I work also. But I am trying to post as much information to give you guys the best optimal chance of having your successful trades. I do that for the premium members. They get the most call-outs. I also do it for the free members. They get some of the call-outs as well. So if you're not following, the link is in the description below. Join the Traders Helping Traders. Come check it out. If you don't know what, if you're a little bit hesitant, maybe you want to just come lurk, come see what we're doing. It's a great community, lots of fun stuff going on, and again, lots of money being made on the call outs. So on the 15-minute chart, what I want to note here, right here, red line, fair value gap. Okay, we're inside of this fair value gap. We're drawing on liquidity that rests inside that fair value gap, but I also want to note that we have additional fair value gaps to the upside. Okay, right here and right here, we have fair value gaps. Okay, and I'm going to take this one off, but wick to wick here. So we have fair value gap and then a bigger fair value gap here. Technically, there's also a fair value gap inside this one. So we really have three fair value gaps that we could be watching for. All of them are going to be potential draws on liquidity. So I'm going to put that line back where it was, and then I'm going to put this other one here. So we have fair value gap inside here, fair value gap inside here, and then a bigger fair value gap here where we currently have traded into. And I bet you we almost got the consequent encroachment. It looks like pretty close, but not quite, of this fair value gap. So no wonder we got a little bit of a reaction there. But again, on the 15-minute chart, what I want to note primarily is that you guys need to be watching the 15-minute opening range. Okay, we had a fairly decent open range with 194 all the way up to 198. Okay, and then what I want you to see is the next 15-minute candle, we got a breakout. Okay, that breakout, it closed above on the 15-minute. Okay, you could have entered on that breakout on that 15-minute close, or I even want to drop down because we have our levels out. Let's drop down into the 5-minute to give you an even better look at this. Okay, what I want you to see is this is our opening range. Okay, we have our low, our high, we have our breakout candle. Could have entered on the close of the breakout candle. Would even got a better entry on the next candle that sold off a little bit. But even if you got the breakout right here, okay, or the close at 198.49, within the next hour, price ripped up all the way to 201. Okay, so that would have been a nice $2, $2.50, something like that. Nice little run up there. Okay. Also, if you entered the breakdown and you rode it for the rest of the day, we came back down, but look where we ended up ripping up to 250, right? High of 200 and 250, 200 and 280, something like that, right? So if you entered here and rode it all the way up, you caught a nice one. Some of the calls that we entered today, 197.50, 200s, 205s. 200 calls for next week, all kinds of fun call outs, and we were pulling 25, 30, 35% on some of the calls. Closed most of them today. Closed here at the top, closed a little bit more here, somewhere in this range. Closed most of them. Still have 5 200 calls for next week, and then 2 runners, I think a 197 and a 200 call for Friday, just in case we start to get a rally. I'm still in it with a good average. Now, if we do start to run tomorrow, I will enter some more of those call positions as I anticipate we're going to come for some of these fair value gaps. Also, we have a little fair value gap here. I'm going to just delete it, but little fair value gap there. And then we, again, have like buy-side liquidity that's in these equal highs. I don't know if we're going to get all the way to 210. We could. FOMC could really drive us there. But we'll just see. I am looking for these equal highs to get taken out, even if we don't take out additional buy-side liquidity to the top. I do think that we are going to see a rally to take out these equal highs before we do see new lower lows. So we'll be watching that. Currently above the 200 period on the 5-minute chart. Let's go back to the 15-minute. I didn't finish analyzing that. Above the 200, above the 50, above VWAP, we got a flattening 200. Right, and again, up there in that 202 range, right, around where our equal highs are, our nearest buy-side liquidity through the fair value gaps. Right, so it would be a logical thought to think maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, sometime like that, we're up here in the 208 range, running a test on this 200 period moving average. Okay, I do think we already saw higher low, lower low, higher low technically, right here. Nice move. Continue up, right? And then I do think even if we do come run a test maybe on VWAP or on this 20 period, then we're going to see a rally up. Definitely what I'm looking for FOMC. And then again, after the meeting, boom, we could drop down easily. No big deal. But I do think we are going to see us push up into the meeting beginning, just because it was such a strong day for today. Now, again, let's drop back down into the 5-minute chart, above the VWAP, above the 50, above the 200, slightly below the 20 period, but wouldn't take much to pop back above that. We have a nice bullish setup. The 50 is about to cross the 200. That'd be our bullish setup where all the moving averages were in line. Could easily run us, again, back up to the equal highs, into this liquidity, into the liquidity in these fair value gaps, right, where we might see a reaction. What we know about, just like how we came into this fair value gap today, right? Into it, rejected out of it. Could come up here, see a reaction. Could come up here, see a reaction. Boom, something like that, right? That would not be out of the question. Totally logical. Possibly probable. We've seen a lot of confluence in that area, but we could just get rejected out here in the 206, 207, 208 range. and then drop from there. But I would like to see buy-side liquidity taken before a bigger drop. That would give me more confidence that we potentially could see a much lower low. And then if we look at the 1 minute chart, this is my favorite. This is what I day trade on. Again, we got our opening range. I don't trade the 1 minute candles on the opening range breakout. I would trade the 5 minute or the 15 minute candles for confirmation. Because right here you got a breakout candle. You got a couple candles that look like we're going to head higher. And then bam, we get slapped back down. So if you're trading the 5 minute, you do get a nice breakout, but then the very next 5 minute candle, which is our confirmation, right? Our breakout is not a confirmation. The next candle is our confirmation. So on the next candle on the 5 minute, you start to capture this move down. Would have gotten a prime entry for a run up higher. But what we can see on the 1 minute chart is that we open gap down slightly. Okay, we run up and then we immediately run on stops. This is very important to understand, guys. We had buy stops here. People went long. People went long yesterday at yesterday's low, mid-session, coming out of lunch. We saw it rally up. We came up. We set a higher high. Starts to look bullish. Bam. Stop losses below this low. They get stopped out nearly perfectly. Just a little bit more, but they get stopped out, right? And then it rips up in the other direction. So if you know what you're looking for, if you know you're looking for this stop raid, because we already said Tuesday is manipulation, okay? Bam, manipulation. Hit those stops, rip it in the other direction. Called it in yesterday's video. If you guys were watching, you're paying attention. You know you're looking for manipulation. We get our first leg of distribution to the upside. Nice trade there. Further distribution to the upside here. See if we get continuation to the upside on Wednesday. We're looking for highs or lows, not both, highs or lows of the week to be set on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. Okay, we got a low of the week on Tuesday. If we don't, so at this point, we're not looking for a high of the week to come in. It doesn't really matter when the high of the week is. Could have been on Monday, and we're trading within a range. Okay, but we do have a low of the week on Tuesday, so it's holding true. We could get a low on tomorrow, which a new low would be on Wednesday, and that would also be logical. But we have got a low, so this distribution, maybe further upside distribution to see if we can run a test on potentially Monday's high. Which was here, which would again be that kind of that take of the equal high, and then at that point we'd have a low on a Tuesday and a high on a Wednesday, which is like a double bonus if you end up getting something like that. So again, I hope this has been helpful for you guys. If you like it, smash a like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications to make sure you get notified every time I have a video coming out. I do this daily, or try to at least. Again, if you're not following in the Discord, check the link in the description. Follow along, calling out live trades in the Discord room. Lots of traders making money. Lots of traders also learning from the type of analysis that we're doing. And if there's anything that you guys think would be valuable, don't hesitate to drop a comment. Let me know if there's something specific you guys want analyzed, or something as far as on the charts that you maybe didn't understand, you want some clarification. I love to get comments. I try to respond to every single one of them. Also, don't forget to check out the merch shop. We're nearly halfway to, a little over halfway to 500 viewers, which we will be giving away a Rawstocks t-shirt as soon as we do have 500 viewers. So again, thank you guys all for all the support. We'll see you guys tomorrow.